Chalo. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Sanjivani revision series. Yes. Now, friends, as you know, there are total three chapters related to directors, right? That is, one is board composition, दूसरा नाम है directors, and third one is KMP. Okay. So, on students' demand, like already we are done with the two chapters which are related to directors, but there is one last chapter left which is related to directors. So on students demand we'll finish this chapter, and then we have one more lecture tomorrow scheduled as per timetable. So in that class we will cover your share capital and compromise and arrangement. Okay, so let's start with this and finish this today. So it is board composition and the powers of the board. Okay, so please be ready with your module. Let's start. Now, yes, what is this board composition? Now, in this, after this introduction is again same. Company is an artificial person. Therefore, company needs a natural person to act on its behalf and all, right? So, who is that natural person who act on behalf of company? Board of directors, right? So, yes, so in this, again you can see the definition of board of directors. That is, board of directors in relation to a company means collective body of directors of company. Okay, so this is the definition. Yes. Who can become a director of company? Come on, tell me. See, when we understand director, can we say that director is a person who is having the majority shares of the company? Is that necessary? It is not necessary. Okay, if a person is a director, then he need to be a shareholder of company. Is that necessary? No. A person can become a director of company with membership also, without membership also. That is with shareholding also, without shareholding also. Correct? So that way we are saying. So who can become a director? An individual person having a DIN number. Right? So that is an individual person who is having a DIN can become a director of company. Yes, here you can see as per section 2, clause number 34. Director means director appointed to the board of company, right? Therefore, an individual who is appointed to the board of the company is a director. So this is definition of director. Earlier what we did, that was definition of board of director, that is section 2 clause 10. Fine. Now here we are starting with section 149 subsection 1, that is talking about number of directors in a company, right? So three categories of company: private company, public company, and one person company. So what are the minimum number of directors required in a private company? In private company you need minimum 2 directors. Firstly, I am not talking about members, I am talking about directors. So minimum 2 directors in private company. Okay. In public company minimum 3 directors, right? In one person company minimum 1 director. Okay, so these are the minimum number of directors required in the different types of companies. Okay, but see here something is mentioned for SEBI LODR. Okay, means we are talking about listed companies. Okay, firstly, not all listed companies. What they're saying is top 2000 listed companies with the effect from 1st of April 2020 shall comprise of not less than 6 directors. This is for which companies? Top 2000 listed companies. It is not for all listed companies, only for the top 2000 listed companies. And once again, top companies shall be determined on the basis of its market capitalization. Okay, very simple. So number of directors is clear, everyone. These are the minimum number of directors required. But what is the requirement for a maximum number of directors? Come on, anyone? Private company, maximum number of directors? How many directors can be appointed in a private company? Maximum number of directors 15. Public company 1515. In all types of companies, maximum number of directors is 15. You understood? Yes. If you say 50, if you say no limit, then understand whenever the board meeting is conducted, sitting fees will be paid to whom? No limit. Sitting fees will be paid to 1000 people. Company is in loss now because the entire amount is spent for sitting fees expenditure. Come on, fine. So understood. Maximum number of directors in any company is 15 only. Okay. So here you can see a company may appoint 15 directors. Maximum how many directors? 15 directors on the board. Okay. So minimum is done. Maximum is done. Now the point is, can company appoint more than 15 directors also? But you need to take the approval of owner of company. Owner means shareholders of company, that is members of company. So now you know how to take the approval of members, that is by passing OR or SR. But for this particular purpose you need to pass SR. Okay, so company may appoint more than 15 directors after passing special resolution in general meeting. Okay, yes, by passing SR. Now the limits what we have done just now, you know, these limits are not applicable on certain companies. That is, you can see section 8 company, government company, right? These companies are allowed to appoint more than 15 directors without passing SR. Means the above limits are not applicable to these companies. Okay, yes. So I hope this is clear to everybody. Minimum number of director and maximum number of director. What is next? What if the minimum, the number of director falls below minimum? Then what will happen? So very simple. We have done this same paragraph in your general meeting chapter also, right? That is, if the strength of director falls below the minimum requirement, then obviously the decisions taken shall not be valid, because company cannot run without minimum number of directors. Okay, and you can know quorum shall also be in problem. So how you will conduct your meetings? So in that case also we did the continuing director should call general meeting and increase the number of directors to meet the minimum strength. Okay, so this was the point. Then here you can see the board composition in case of listed companies. Okay, so you can see here we have done that. If you remember, at least one woman independent director, at least one woman independent director shall be appointed in which companies? Top 1000 listed companies. It is not for all. Array, for public listed company anyway appointment of woman director is compulsory. I'm not talking about woman director, I'm talking about woman independent director, right? So that case is applicable only in case of top 1000 listed companies. At least one woman independent, that is by 1st of April 2020. Okay, yes, I hope this is clear. Then there are two types of director, you know, executive and non-executive director. I told you earlier, right? These are the SEBI LODR things. For reference, you can see students are advised to refer CMSL chapter 10. But anyways, you don't have to go there. You are giving one group, so done. What is next? Next section is 165. You know, in the yesterday's revision class we did 164, disqualification of director. 165 is here, that is talking about number of directorship. In the yesterday's class we did 166 also, 167 also, 168 also, right? But 165 is here. So 165 is talking about what? Number of directorship in a company. Means a person can hold maximum how many directorship at the same time? How much? 20. Yes, correct. A person can become director in maximum 20 companies at one time. At one time he can become director in 20 companies. You can see maximum directorship in aggregate is 20. Okay, when you will be counting this 20 companies for the same person, do we need to consider alternate directorship also? Like if I am alternate director in two companies, so you know alternate directorship is only for a limited period of time. Once the original director come back to India, you have to vacate the office, right? So do you count the number of directorship in alternate as alternate directorship? Will you count that in this limit? Yes, that is including alternate directorship. Okay, but what do we don't count? Yes, the number of directorship you are holding in dormant companies are excluded. Then Section 8 companies, you are a director in Section 8 companies is also excluded. You understood? So total limit is 20. Okay, then 20 includes alternate directorship, and the 20 excludes directorship in Section 8 company and dormant company. Very simple, right? Okay, now tell me, can you become director in 20 private companies? Why? Can you become can you become director in 20 private companies? Come on, tell me. Was there any individual limit for private companies? Tell me. Was there any individual limit for maximum directorship in a private company? No. So in that case, what limit is applicable? In that case, this one, 20 limit is only applicable. So can you become director in 20 private companies? Answer is yes. You can do that. Can you become director in 20 public companies? 20 public companies? No, because for public company, there is a limit of 10 companies. Okay, you can see here maximum directorship in public company is 10 companies. Everybody clear? Yes? Okay. Now tell me, when we talk about this limit of public companies, number of public companies, okay, in this, we also need to count the directorship in a private company, which is a holding or a subsidiary company of a public company. Suppose if you are a director in a private company, but that private company is a holding company or subsidiary company of a public company, and you are director of that private company. So such directorship shall be counted as a directorship in a public company. Understood? What deemed public company? That is for holding subsidiary both. Deemed public company is for holding a subsidiary both. Then why are you using this term? Huh? It is not deemed public company. So if you are a director in a private company which is a holding or subsidiary of a public company, understood? Such directorship shall be counted while counting the number of public companies. Okay, so here it is. So number of public company 10. This includes the directorship. This includes the directorship in private companies that are either holding or subsidiary of a public company. Easy? Yes. Then dormant company, directorship and dormant company shall not be included. When you count the 20 limit, you don't have to consider the directorship in dormant companies. Okay, so tell me, can you become director in 10 public company and 10 private company at the same time? 10 public company, 10 private company at the same time? Can you become director in 13 private company and 7 public company? Okay. Can you become directorship in 14 private company and 7 public company? Why? There is no limit for private company. No, limit is only 20. And public company, I am saying only 7. For public company, limit is 10. So what is the problem? Problem is aggregate limit. So both the conditions should get satisfied. So here I told you 14 and 7. So it is 21. So therefore it is not allowed. Okay, fine. Now one more thing. Suppose, do you know that I told you about this? Okay, LOD here is given here. See, I told you for public companies limit is 10. You can become director in maximum 10 public companies, right? But can you become director in 10 public listed company? Can you become director in 10 public listed company? Answer is no. Answer is no. As per SEBI LODR regulations, you can hold directorship in public listed companies. And what is the limit? 7. Limit is 7. Okay, can you see this? Not more than 7 listed companies with effect from 1st of April 2020. Earlier it was 8. Now it is 7. Clear everybody? A person shall not be a director in more than 8 listed companies earlier, and now it is 7. Okay, so can a person become director in 10 private company plus 7 public listed company plus 3 public unlisted company? Why no? 10 private, 7 public listed, 3 public unlisted. So what is the problem? Total is 20, correct? I told you 10 private companies, not a problem. Public listed company, I told you 7, not a problem. 3, I told you public unlisted companies. What's the problem? Total is also getting satisfied. All the conditions are getting satisfied. Correct? So total is 20, right? Plus, can he become director in 2 dormant companies? So now total is 22. But that is okay because we don't count the directorship in dormant company. Is this clear? Everyone? Okay, fine. So this was your point, right? Number of directorship. Now see what they are saying. If it is my company, I would not like to appoint a person as a director who is running 20 companies at the same time. Correct? So can we decide the limit for holding the directorship that is less than 20 for our company's directors? Can I decide the limit for number of directorships for my directors? Okay, that is the limit which is less than 20. Can I do that? Answer is yes. So members of company may, however, by passing special resolution, specify any lesser number of companies in which director of company may act as a director. You understood this point? By passing SR, you can decide the limit for number of directorship which is less than 20. Okay, you can do that. Then what is next? See, any person who is holding the office as a director in companies more than the given limit, that is more than 20 or individual limit, before commencement of this act, means before Companies Act 2013 came, if suppose there is a person who is holding directorship in more than 20 companies and now this act is effective, now these rules are effective, now what to do? So friends, now once this act comes into effect, within a period of 1 year from such commencement, you need to choose the 20 companies in which you want to continue as a director. Shall not hold more than the companies, that is specified limit of those companies in which he wishes to continue to hold as a director and resign the office as a director in the other remaining companies. Suppose if he was a director in 25 companies before the act came. So now the Companies Act 2013 is effective. Correct. So now within 1 year time, he will have to resign the 5 companies and he will have to decide which 20 companies he wants to continue as a director. Clear everyone? Okay, so that way it is. Chalo. So, yes, I told you if chalo. So if he is holding the directorship in the number of companies that is more than the limit before the commencement of this act, once this act comes into effect, he will have to choose in which 20 companies he want to continue as a director, and he will have to resign the remaining companies. Okay? Yes. Then. Okay, that's all. I already told you this, not applicable on Section 8 company, and you need to include alternate directorship. Okay, then this BLOD is also done. Yes. So maximum is public listed company 7, correct? And remember one more thing: a person shall not serve as independent director in more than 7 listed companies. See, independent director is also a director only. Correct. Next, any person who is serving as whole-time director, managing director in any listed company, like you are what? You are managing director, whole-time director in a listed company. In a listed company, he can act as independent director in maximum 3 listed companies only. You understood? So generally, what was the number of directorship limit for independent directors? 7 listed companies. But if you are what? Whole-time director or managing director in any listed company, so now you can hold the directorship of independent director position for maximum 3 listed companies only. Okay, done. So 165 is completely done. Right now, next you can see is next section. Yes, board committees. What is board committees? You know, there are different types of committees. Everyone, there are different types of committees called as committees of board committees. Now, there are few sections which are explaining the different types of committees. That is, sections are given in Companies Act 2013, obviously, but this requirement is also arising in SEBI LODR regulations. So we are going to talk considering both the requirements. Okay. So what are the first type of committee? First type of committee is audit committee, that is covered under section 177. Okay, what is the object? What is the purpose of audit committee? See, there are two things. One thing is to oversight the financial disclosures, financial reporting, internal and external audits, internal control, accounting, regulatory compliance, risk management. The main aim is to strengthen the confidence of the stakeholders in companies' financial statements and announcements. Okay, internal control, risk management process, and so on. See, obviously, when we conduct audit, so if there is something wrong in the recording of transactions, obviously auditor will make a note in the report, audit report, right? But when will you come to know about all these things? After the year is over, correct? Then audit is conducted, you prepare report and everything. But see, so what do you want? Whoever has committed fraud, that will be exposed because of audit report and everything. But the the power of law is not to detect the criminal and punish him. Power of law should be to prevent the fraud. So if there is a committee inside the company, within the company, who will make sure that this defaults are not done, all the transactions, all the accounting records are maintained in a fair manner. So the thing is to prevent the fraud. The victory is not that someone commits the fraud and then law will catch him, law will determine him and identify him and punish him. That is not the power of law. We want to prevent it. So there is a committee which is formed within the company called as audit committee. Okay, so audit committee is going to look after two things. One is financial records, supervision of financial records, disclosures and everything. And secondly, audit committee is going to look after all the activities related to auditors. If you know there is audit committee in the company, audit committee recommends the auditor to the company. So hiring auditor, firing auditor, his performance evaluation, whether audit is conducted in the fair manner or not, so all these things also audit committee plays an important role. Now this type of committee, come on, which companies are required to appoint to form audit committee? Which companies are required to form audit committee? So the applicability is the following companies. Applicability is same as independent director. See, every listed company, every public listed company is required to appoint to form audit committee. Secondly, all other public companies, means public unlisted company having paid up share capital of 10 cr or more, or turnover of 100 cr or more, or the borrowings exceeding 50 crores. Okay, so this is your applicability of audit committee. Okay, second point, there are few companies which are not required to appoint, which are not required to form audit committee. So same point was given in your independent director again. So what was that? Following class of unlisted public company, following class of unlisted public company shall not be covered for the above purpose. So which companies are not required to form audit committee? Joint venture company, wholly owned subsidiary company, dormant company. These companies are not required to appoint to form audit committee. Okay, now the third part is composition of audit committee, means who all will be present in this audit committee. So now in this you can see this explanation is divided into two parts. One is as per Companies Act and other is as per SEBI LODR regulations. So we are going to compare it and we are going to understand this. So if you have audit committee in your company, firstly, how many directors shall be the part of this committee? So as per Companies Act, minimum 3 directors of the company shall be the part of audit committee. And for listed companies, same, 3 directors of the company shall be the part of audit committee. Easy? Okay. Independent directors are required to be the part of audit committee? Yes, no. Let's check. So as per Companies Act, okay, see here what they are saying. See, when I talk as per Companies Act, that means obviously I am talking about public unlisted companies, because for listed companies there is a different rule. So therefore I am talking, because if you saw this, if you understood this points, for listed company audit committee is to be formed compulsorily, but for the other 3 is talking about public unlisted companies. So for them we are going to follow this Companies Act. So as per Companies Act, out of the total number of members in this committee, okay, independent director need to form majority. You understood? So out of the total number of members in the audit committee, the majority of the members must be independent director. Once again, come on, how many directors of the company should be the part of audit committee? 3. Okay, minimum 3 directors should be the part of audit committee, and out of the total number of members of audit committee, majority of them shall be independent director. Okay, except in section 8 company, means see in section 8 company obviously you need to form what? Audit committee, but in that the majority of the members are required to be independent director. That is not applicable. That rule is not applicable. That's it. Okay, fine. What about listed companies? So in listed companies, at least 2/3 of the members of audit committee shall be independent director. See, understand one thing here. As per Companies Act, it was majority of them shall be independent director. Here they are saying 2/3. Can I say 2/3 means more than majority? Yes. So 2/3 of the total number of members shall be what? Independent directors. Okay. But if in case listed companies having outstanding SR equity shares, what is SR equity shares? Superior rights equity shares. Then audit committee shall comprise of only and only independent directors. In case of listed company having SR equity shares, all the directors, all the members shall be what? Independent directors. Otherwise generally we told majority, generally we told 2/3, but here in this case all. Okay, so we will mark this as, see, first point we did how many directors, then we did how many independent directors. Okay, next is chairperson. You know, every committee has a chairman. Yes or no? As you know, every meeting should have a chairman. Similarly, every committee also requires to have a chairperson. So who shall be the chairman? So as per Companies Act does not prescribe that chairman of audit committee shall be an independent director. This is not required as per Companies Act. The chairman has to be an independent director. That is not required. Okay. But for listed companies, as per SEBI LODR, who shall be the chairman? Independent director shall be the chairman of this committee. Everybody understood what I'm saying? Clear? Okay. So next one. Next one is educational qualification. Now see, these people in the audit committee, I told you what they are going to do. They are going to monitor the recording of the transactions of the financial statements, financial reporting, financial disclosures, and so on, right? So if the people are going to do that task, obviously they should know that task. So what the point says, as per Companies Act 2013, the point says that every majority of the members of the audit committee, including the chairperson, must have ability to read and understand the financial statements. So when we talk about here educational qualification, so that should be educational qualification which helps them, which enables them to read and understand the financial statements. And when we talk about SEBI LODR, all the members need to be financially literate, and at least one member must have expertise in accounting or financial management. Accounting or financial management. Okay, that is only the eligibility criteria here. Then presence in the AGM or other general meetings. You know what? The members or the chairman of committee is generally present in AGM to answer the shareholders' queries. So is there any requirement in case of audit committee as well? So here, as per Companies Act, it is saying that the chairman or chairman of committee, obviously the chairman of committee or any other member of committee authorized by chairman can attend the general meeting on his behalf. So who can attend as per Companies Act? Chairman himself or any other member of committee who has been authorized by the chairman to answer shareholders' queries. Okay, but in case of listed company, chairman himself only have to attend, no other member on his behalf. So chairman of audit committee shall be present at AGM to answer the shareholders' queries. Everybody easy? Yes. Then there is secretary of committee. Secretary of committee. Yes, as per Companies Act, nothing is provided, no requirement for public unlisted company. But for listed companies, CS shall be the secretary of the audit committee in case of listed companies. Now, presence of others in the meeting of audit committee. So see, we have done that chapter, you know, meetings of board and its committee. So when we conduct committee meetings, who can attend the meeting? Obviously only the members of committee. But can others also attend the meeting? Others means who? All the invitees, correct? All the invitees. Who shall be the invitees in case of audit committee meeting? All the finance experts who are invited for the same. So here you can see the same thing, right? The experts having knowledge in accounts, audit and so on. Statutory auditor you can see and others. Then meeting of committee. Which committee? Audit committee. You know, there is a separate meetings held for audit committee meetings also. So what are the meetings? So as per Companies Act 2013, there is no minimum requirement to conduct the meetings of audit committee. Yes, what they are saying is they can conduct meeting, they shall meet as often as necessary. Okay, as per their requirement, as per the need arises. But when we talk about listed companies, SEBI LODR has given the requirement that at least 4 meetings in a year, that is minimum 4 times in a year they have to meet. Means they have to conduct audit committee meeting at least 4 times in a year, and the gap between two meetings shall not be more than 120 days between two meetings. Minimum gap or maximum gap? Maximum gap of 120 days. Is this clear to everybody? Any doubt in this? Very simple. Can I say this for listed companies audit committee meetings requirement was same as board meetings? Okay, come on. Now what about quorum of this meeting? Which meeting? Audit committee meeting. What is the quorum? So as per Companies Act, there is no such requirement. As per Companies Act, quorum shall be as specified by board. Whatever board says, that shall be the quorum. And but if board has not specified anything, if no quorum is specified by the board, then all the members are required to be present to form the quorum. All the members are required to be present to form the quorum. Easy? This is as per Companies Act, as specified by board, or if nothing is specified, then all the members has to be present. But when we talk about listed companies, in such case audit committee meetings quorum shall be same as board meeting, that is 1/3 of total number of members, or 2, whichever is higher. But there is one thing which was not there in board meetings, that is at least 2 independent director must be present. So 1/3 of total number of directors or 2 directors, whichever is higher, including 2 independent director. This is the quorum of audit committee meeting. Okay, easy. Now what are the powers of audit committee? So here friends, powers are same as similar to what we are going to see here in role. Powers are going to be similar as role. Okay. So basically how many points? A to I. Everybody understood? Audit committee. Applicability was the first point. Second point was non-applicability. Third point was what is a number of directors required to form audit committee. How many independent directors should be the part of audit committee. Then we saw who shall be the chairman. What shall be the educational qualification for the members. Right? Who will be present in the general meeting to answer shareholders' queries. Secretary of committee. Presence of other persons in the audit committee meeting. Then meeting of audit committee. Then we did quorum of this committee, and then powers of committee. Easy? Yes. Now we are moving forward to our point number 4. That is role of audit committee. Come on. Did I told you the role? Yes, I already told you the role. What is the role of audit committee? 2 parts. First, to make sure that all the financial records are maintained in a true and fair manner. And secondly, to look after all the problems related to auditors. Okay, so here we go. Come on. What are the role of audit committee? First, can you see that? Recommend for appointment. Recommend remuneration. Terms of appointment of auditors of the company. I told you, right? You must have done this in the chapter accounts and audit also. If there is an audit committee in the company, audit committee will recommend a person to the board who is to be appointed as a auditor. So recommend a person for appointment, recommend his remuneration, right? Terms of appointment and so on. Fine. Next, what is the functions of audit committee? Next is to review and monitor the auditor's independence and review his performance and effectiveness of audit process. You understood this? They will supervise whether the auditor is performing his duty in correct manner. Then examination of financial statements, auditor's report, to examine all this. Then approval or subsequent modification of transactions of the company with related parties. You know, when we do that section 188, related party transaction. You know, for related party transaction, for every related party transaction, company is required to obtain approval of audit committee before doing that transaction. For every related party transaction, company is required to obtain approval of audit committee. So that's what the point they are explaining here. Then scrutiny of intercorporate loans investment. What is loans and investment? Section 186, where we talk about intercorporate loans, investment, guarantee and security. Okay. Then valuation matters, whether the valuation is done correctly or not. right? Evaluation of internal financial control, risk management, monitoring the use of funds which is raised through public offers. Okay, funds which are raised through public offers. So monitor the usage of that fund. So all these things are there, and this section 177 is not applicable, okay, in specified IFSC public companies. Okay, so this was the role. Now friends, here we are talking about something called as omnibus approval of related party transaction, but we have not yet revised related party transaction topic, but obviously that is part of this chapter. So we will do this revision after we finish related party transaction once. Okay, so I'm keeping this at hold right now. Then later on, next topic is here. This is the next. Yes, what is this? Have you studied this or no? Yes, vigil mechanism. Yes, it is again part of 177 only. What is the purpose of this vigil mechanism? The purpose of this vigil mechanism policy is to safeguard, to protect the victimization of employee. Suppose for example there is one employee, this person Mr. A. Okay, now Mr. B has filed a false complaint. It is a fake complaint, frivolous complaint against Mr. A. Okay, he has filed a complaint in the company itself to the higher authority. Now what higher authority thought, what higher authority did? Higher authority fired him. Okay, now tell me, was he under any mistake? No. Did he made any default? No. But still he was fired. Now if this happens in a company, come on, can I say all other employees will be in problem? All other employees will feel insecure, because next time if this thing happens with any one of you, so company will fire you also. So is this going to affect the efficiency of company? Yes. So tell me, Mr. A was, under the trap which was planned by Mr. B. So this is called employee victimization. He became victim of that trap. Correct? So this is not good for the company, obviously. So to prevent all these things, there has to be what? There has to be a policy. This is called as vigil mechanism. Firstly, why this is given in the section 177? 177 was talking about audit committee. That is given here because audit committee is responsible. Audit committee is responsible for implementation of vigil mechanism in the company. Okay. Yes. So you can see that this provides for establishment of vigil mechanism for directors, employees to report their genuine concerns or grievances as under. Why this is set up? For adequate safeguards against victimization of employees and directors who use such a mechanism, and make provision for direct access. I'll come to this direct access part. Firstly, you understood it is for what? It is to prevent, to safeguard employee victimization. Okay, now which companies should have this type of mechanism? So here is the applicability, first point, that is every public listed company is compulsorily requires to have such type of mechanism. Okay, second, companies which accept deposits from public are required to have this type of mechanism. Company which has borrowed money from banks and public financial institutions in excess of 50 crore rupees. So companies having borrowing exceeding 50 crore rupees are also have to compulsorily have this type of mechanism. Okay, so this was the first point about applicability of this mechanism. Second point is about the purpose of this mechanism. Okay, that you can mark from here to here. Now if this happens with you, if you become victim of this kind of trap, what you can do? I told you audit committee is responsible for implementation of this mechanism, right? So now here the remedy which is given to the employees who became the victim under this trap, understand, this employee can directly go and complain to Who is responsible for implementation? Audit committee. Audit committee have a chairman. Every committee have a chairman. This person will have direct access to the chairman of audit committee. Can you see this? Make a provision for direct access to the chairman of audit committee. Okay. Okay, so that you can directly go and complain to the chairman of committee, or there are cases where a director is nominated to play the role of audit committee in appropriate or exceptional cases. So means you have access to the higher authority. So that is the point here. Okay, this becomes your point number 2. And as I told you, in case of repeated frivolous complaints, what is frivolous complaints? False complaints being filed by a director or an employee, so audit committee may take suitable action against the concerned director or employee, including reprimand. What is this reprimand? Reprimand means to scold, scoldings, as well as may take suitable action. This becomes your point number 3. Okay, yes. Then see, if we are talking about these companies, right? If there is a company where audit committee is not required to be formed, okay, in that case, in case of other companies which are not required to form audit committee, in such case the board of directors of the company shall nominate a director to play the role of audit committee for the purpose of Vigil mechanism, where employees can go and report their concerns. So if there is no audit committee, there is a director who is appointed by the board to whom you can tell your concerns. Everybody understood? So this all things now covers the same thing. It is beneficial, this, that. Okay, so 4 points. Everyone is clear with this? That's all it is. 177 is over. Come on, next is 178. That is Nomination and Remuneration Committee, NRC. Come on, do you know what is NRC? What does NRC does? NRC will determine good candidates who can be recommended to the company's board. Okay, you understand that? To identify diamonds, to identify good candidates who can be appointed in the board of company. That is, who can be appointed as a director, KMP, senior management, so high level authority. So NRC plays the role not exactly like HR, but to identify the candidates, okay, and recommend to the board. So first NRC is going to identify the candidate, then NRC is going to test their knowledge. Like suppose for example, if you have so and so qualification, but you should have that knowledge of that thing also, correct? To test the knowledge, then recommend the person to the board, and also recommend the remuneration and terms of his appointment to the board. Then it is board's choice whether to appoint him or not. Okay, but NRC is going to recommend. Easy everyone? So here is the point everybody. So NRC helps the board of directors, okay, in preparation relating to election of the members of board of directors, handling matters with regard to their responsibility, terms of appointment, employment, remuneration for senior management, all these things. Okay, already told you this. Now we need a separate type of committee called as NRC in which companies? So the applicability of NRC is same as your audit committee. Okay, that becomes your first point. Applicability, every public listed company, other public company, that is public unlisted company having paid up share capital of 10 CR or more, other public company having turnover of 100 CR or more, or other public company whose borrowing is exceeding 50 crores. So this is the applicability, first point, NRC. Second point, again same as audit committee, non-applicability. There are few class of public unlisted companies which are not covered for the above purpose. Which are the companies? Same as independent, same as audit committee, as well as independent director also. So that is joint venture company, wholly owned subsidiary company, and dormant company. Very simple. Any doubt in this? Okay, now Yes, after the exemption notification, section 178 are not applicable to section 8 companies also now. Okay, and also the specified IFSC public companies. You saw we did the same line in section 177 also. 177 is not applicable on public, specified IFSC public companies. Fine. So this was the second point. Now, third point is about composition. Come on, who all shall be the part of NRC? Let's go. The first one. First one we are talking about number of directors. How many directors shall be the part of NRC? First, again minimum 3 or more non-executive directors. Hey, come on, in audit committee we told minimum 3 directors of the company shall be the part of the committee. Here we are not saying directors, here we are saying non-executive directors. So minimum 3 or more non-executive directors shall be the part of this committee. That is as per Companies Act. But for listed companies, again 3 non-executive directors, same. Okay? Yes. Now friends, when I am talking about NRC, I told you this committee plays what type of role? I told you it recommends to the board, right, and all those things. So is this NRC is going to appoint or recommend any junior level staff? No. It is going to deal with the candidates who can be appointed at senior level management, at the board level management, at the KMP level, right? So can I say obviously the founder of company may be involved in this process? Yes or no? So here they are saying that the chairman of company may be appointed as a member of NRC. The chairman of company may be appointed as a member of NRC, but the chairman of company cannot be appointed as a chairman of this committee, but not the chairman of such committee. So chairman of company shall be the member of this committee, but the chairman of company cannot be chairman of this committee. Okay, this is as per Companies Act. Same thing is given for listed companies also. The chairman of the company may be the member of this committee, but not the chairman of this committee. Same it is given here. So this was about the number of directors. Now what about independent directors? Independent directors are going to be the part of this committee? Yes, as per Companies Act. It says that out of the total number of members, 1/2 shall be independent directors. Okay, and for listed companies, at least 2/3 of the members shall be independent director. You saw in audit committee it was majority for Companies Act, and for listed company it was 2/3. Here it is not majority, it is 1/2 for Companies Act, and SEBI LOD is for listed company it is 2/3. Come on, who shall be the chairman? So again Companies Act is silent about this. Who shall be the chairman? Sorry, minimum. Yes, there is no such restriction given there. Can you see any restriction? No, that means minimum this much should be there. Yes, so Companies Act is silent about who shall be the chairman of the committee, but listed company, who shall be the chairman? Independent director shall be the chairman. Easy everyone? Come on, next. Presence in general meeting. Who shall be present? Who will be present? Same as audit committee. Come on, chairman as per Companies Act. Chairman of the committee or any other member authorized by him shall attend the general meeting of the company. And in listed company, chairman himself may be present at AGM to answer the shareholder queries. Easy? D point. Now E. Come on, again, meeting of NRC. Meeting of NRC. How many meetings they need to conduct minimum in a year? So in Companies Act, there is no such rule. So that is, they shall meet as often as necessary. But as per SEBI LODR, that is for listed companies, NRC shall conduct at least one meeting in a year. That is at least, that is minimum one meeting in a year. Okay, come on. What shall be the quorum for this type of committee meeting? So quorum, as per Companies Act, it is again same as audit committee, that is as prescribed by board. And if nothing is prescribed by board, then if nothing is specified, then all the members of committee are required to be present to form the quorum. Okay, this is for Companies Act, but as per SEBI LODR, for listed companies, it is 1/3 of total number of members or 2, whichever is higher, right? But including at least 1 independent director. In audit committee, at least 2 independent director. Okay, so that is the difference. So I hope everyone is clear with this much. What do you think? Module is difficult? Language is also good? Yes or no? So no need to follow multiple notes. Just stick to the module. Module is everything. Right? Always you should do module. Come on, next is point number 4. Functions of NRC. I already told you what NRC does. Identify the candidate, recommend to the board, test his knowledge, recommend the remuneration, right? All these things. Positioning, evaluation of his performance, right? All these things. Then here you can again see the functions of NRC for listed companies, that is as per SEBI LODR. What do they do? Okay, so I already told you what do they do. Now, next section is section number 178, that is SRC, Stakeholder Relationship Committee. Now, in the name itself, you can see what this committee is going to do. Come on, what they are going to do? SRC, Stakeholder Relationship Committee. So here there is a committee who is going to resolve the grievances of stakeholders, right? So if any stakeholder, any shareholder, debenture holder, depositor is having any query, he can go and complain to SRC, and SRC is going to make sure that problem is resolved. Okay, so this is given in section number 178. So which companies are required to have the separate committee that is called SRC to resolve the grievances, concerns of stakeholders? So what if in your company there are only 60 members? 60 members, come on. So to resolve their grievances, you will form a separate committee called as SRC? No, you can just form a WhatsApp group. They will report their grievances there and you can easily resolve it. So when do you need a separate committee for this thing? So applicability is, you need to have a company which consists of more than 1,000 stakeholders. It is not 1,000, it is more than 1,000 stakeholders. And here they are talking about what stakeholders? All collectively, there should be more than 1,000. That is shareholders, debenture holders, deposit holders, any other security holders at any time during the financial year, then such company is required to form SRC. So this is the applicability. Company having more than 1,000 in aggregate, okay, stakeholders. Now this was your first point about applicability. Second point, come on, again composition, number of directors. How many directors shall be the part of this committee? So here you can see SRC shall consist of a chairman, which every committee has, and such other members as decided by board. This is as per Companies Act. But as per SEBI LODR, that is for listed companies, what is the rule? For listed companies, it is minimum 3 directors, okay, as members, with at least 1 being an independent director. Minimum 3 directors of the company shall be the part of SRC, out of which at least 1 shall be independent director. Everybody understood this point? Okay. But in case of listed company having outstanding SR equity shares, in such case, at least 2/3 of the total number of members of SRC shall be of independent director. Come on, once again. As per Companies Act, how many number of directors should be the part of SRC? So it is, there is 1 chairman, other members as decided by board. But for listed companies, minimum 3 directors shall be the part of SRC as members. Minimum 3 directors, any 3 directors of the company, right? But if there is a listed company having outstanding SR equity shares, then minimum 3 directors is not enough. Then in that case, there has to be at least 2/3 of the total number of members in SRC shall be independent director. Okay, then who shall be the chairman? So Companies Act says that chairman shall be non-executive director. For listed companies, SEBI LODR again says the same thing. Chairman shall be non-executive director. Okay. Then come on. Point number C, presence in general meeting. Obviously, this is SRC. Their object is to resolve the grievances. So obviously, they should be present in general meeting. Obviously, answer is yes. So here you can see, friends, the chairman himself or any member authorized by him shall attend the general meeting to resolve their grievances. Okay. But in case of listed company, chairman himself shall be present at AGM to answer the queries of security holders. Clear, everybody? Come on. Now, do they have to conduct a separate meeting just like other committees? Yes. Come on. Companies Act as prescribed. There is nothing such number mentioned, so they shall meet as often as necessary. But for listed companies, at least one meeting in a year. Okay. Now again, quorum for the meeting of SRC. So what is the quorum? Again, same. As per Companies Act, that is for public unlisted companies, what they are saying is, as specified by board, quorum for such committee meeting shall be as specified by board. But if board has not specified anything, then all the members of such committee are required to be present to form the quorum. For listed companies, first time nothing is specified. Understood? So they can decide by themselves. Okay? Because there is no such law for it. Easy? So these are your points. Then friends, next is functions of SRC. You can see there are 4 points. All the 4 points are saying the same thing: to resolve the grievances, to take the effective measures to protect the rights of shareholders. Right? So all these things are talking about to resolve the concerns of stakeholders. Okay. Now, 2 sections we did, 177 and 178. So what is the penalty for contravention of these provisions? So it says that in case any contravention of the provision of 177 or 178 is done, company shall be liable for a penalty of 5 lakh rupees. Company. An officer in default liable for penalty of 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so penalty on company is how much? 5 lakh. Officer in default 1 lakh. Easy. Now, suppose if any grievance is, the SRC is unable to resolve any grievance. So, inability to resolve any grievance by SRC in good faith shall not attract contravention of this section. Have you understood this? What I'm saying? Come on. Inability to resolve the grievance. If SRC tried to resolve the grievance of stakeholder, but SRC couldn't resolve it. So this is not going to be considered as non-compliance of this section. Understood? So that is the point here. So I hope this is clear to everybody. Very simple, right? Next committee is Risk Management Committee. Yes, what is the purpose of Risk Management Committee? See, every company is doing a business. Correct? Now the environment keeps on changing. Business environment keeps on changing. Like you saw after this COVID, all the businesses went online. Right? Whatever the marketplaces are available right now. Earlier we used to use those marketplaces, but it triggered the online business in COVID time. Correct? So there was change in the environment. Yes or no? Now friends, you know what? Here, Risk Management Committee comes into picture. Suppose if we have a company, our company is doing a specific particular kind of business. Now suppose if environment changes, which directly or indirectly affects the business. Now obviously the business of company will go down because of change in environment. So if business of company goes down, whose money will be in problem? Shareholders, investors' money will be in problem. So if business goes down due to the change in the environment in business, so investors' money will go down. If investors' money will go down, no one next time is going to invest in the companies. In fact, people will stop investing in other companies also. So how will they raise capital? So there will be a problem. So always law is made to protect the interest of the stakeholders, right? So therefore, law says that for big companies, there should be, big companies, you understand, all the listed companies and all. So there should be a separate committee called as risk management committee within the company. There should be a committee called as risk management committee within the company. What this committee do? This committee identifies the risk which may come to the company. Now see, so many businesses in COVID time collapsed, completely collapsed, right? Now that was a change in environment, that was a risk on the business. So can anybody stop the risk? Can anybody avoid the risk? No. All the companies, all the businesses can just manage the risk. Damage is going to come, damage is going to happen, but you have to manage the risk in such a way that your company faces minimum damage. Correct? So risk management committee comes into picture. Their object is to identify and manage the risk, okay, and provide an impetus towards the improving the quality of risk reporting, monitoring the risk both for the management and for the board. You understood? They are going to find the remedies, resolutions. How can we safeguard the existence of the company? How can we safeguard the business of company? So that is the purpose of risk management committee in the company. Okay, so this was about the meaning. Then meaning and role I told you. Now what is the applicability? Which companies are required to have this type of committee? I told you big companies. What is big companies? So SEBI LODR comes into the picture. It says that yes, risk management committee for top 1000 listed companies. Top 1000 listed companies are required to form this committee, risk management committee. Okay, yes, what is the composition? See, you can make this as your first point. This is your second point, applicability. Now third point is composition. Who shall be the part of this committee? So it says that this committee shall have minimum 3 members. Okay, majority of them shall be board of directors, including 1 independent director. Okay, and in case of listed company having outstanding SR equity shares, at least 2/3 of the members shall be independent director. Otherwise, in general, only at least 1 independent director should be the part of this committee. Otherwise, in case of SR outstanding equity shares, 2/3 of the total number of members of this committee shall be independent directors. Okay. Now, the chairman of this committee shall be a member of board. Means any of the director shall be the chairman of this committee. Okay. Then point number 4 is about the meeting of this committee. So they shall meet twice in a year. Okay, minimum twice in a year. What is the quorum of such meeting of SRC? So it's 2 members or 1/3 of total number of members, whichever is higher, including at least 1 member of board. Okay, so here they are not saying including at least 1 independent director. Here they are saying including at least 1 member of board, that is director. Okay, yes, then they shall conduct the meeting in a manner that is, the gap is not more than 180 days between 2 meetings. Okay, then functions of this committee, I already told you what do they do. They plan, they identify the risk, they manage the risk, they find out the effective measures, effective steps to be taken, right? All these things are the part of their role. So this becomes your fifth point. Okay, and here you are done with your risk management committee as well. पहले भी था, हमें नहीं पता था. Okay, so this is risk management committee. Now the last committee is CSR committee. So do you have this topic now in your syllabus, CSR committee? Yes, CSR committee remains the same. CSR chapter is removed from the syllabus, but CSR committee remains the same. Okay, so have you done your CSR chapter? No, you have not done CSR chapter. Okay, so because this type of committee is very well given in CSR chapter also, so nothing to worry, we will be doing that in today's class itself, so don't worry, we will be doing CSR committee, but we will do that from CSR chapter. It is the same. The thing is, here they have given applicability of 135, many things are given here, almost you can see summary of the chapter is given. Okay, but we will be doing that from CSR chapter. Fine, but it is again the same. If you see that, what is the role of the committee, composition, who shall be the part of this committee, can you see this composition, right? Then meetings of CSR committee, quorum, role of CSR committee, right? And disclosure requirements of this. Can you see this? For detailed discussion on CSR provision, refer chapter 17 CSR, but now it is removed from the syllabus. Okay, should we finish it right now? Okay, chalo, we'll do it right now. See, firstly, everyone, are you aware about CSR activity? See, company makes profit, correct? Company makes profit, so the law says that earlier government of India told companies, corporate entities, that see, everybody needs development. So for development you need money. So people will say that yeah, we are paying tax, we are doing our duty. So we are not, citizens are not in problem, we are doing our obligation, we are performing all our duties, right? Government says no, all are not paying taxes, so you are a problem. We are saying no, government, you are a problem. So now government went to a person who is an artificial person, right? See, because you will say that why should, see, government is asking people, you want development, everybody said yes. So for development we need money, yes. So you tell me, what are the problems in our country? Poverty, problems, day to day activities, inadequate infrastructure, like what? Be specific. Waste disposal, okay, next. ठीक है, और similar. Okay, next. Overcrowded transportation, right? There is wastage issue. Then what else? Pollution. Then deforestation. Next. Correct. Okay, so for all these problems, would you like to solve all these problems? Tell me. Do you want these problems to get resolved? So for solving this problem, we need money. So do you want to resolve these problems? Yes. So we all will collectively try to resolve these problems. So tomorrow when you come for the class, everybody should carry 10 lakh rupees and give it to me. I will also contribute 10 lakh rupees from my pocket. So we all are going to spend that money for the development of society. And we will try to, whatever extent possible, we are going to try to resolve these problems. Okay, everyone ready? Everyone is going to bring money tomorrow? Yes or no? You don't want to resolve these problems? You want development? You don't want development also. You know what is the reason? क्या अपना पैसा नहीं छूटता है? हाँ, correct. It's like, दुख होता है because it's अपना पैसा. Correct. So therefore company, so no one is going to bring money tomorrow, right? So therefore government of India approached a person जिसको दुख नहीं होता है. Therefore, Government of India approached artificial person, that is corporate entities, companies, body corporates, to make a contribution out of their profits. Yes, Government of India told the corporate entities, artificial persons, what? That you make profit, you make so much of profit, so why don't you contribute a part of it, or a small part of it, for the benefit of society? So company said, no, no, why we should give out of our profits? We are not going to give. When companies goes into insolvency, when company suffers losses, all these people, they don't contribute to us. So why should we contribute for the benefit of society? We are not going to contribute. So companies refused. So therefore, law was passed. Section 135 was added in Companies Act 2013 in the name of CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility. This corporate social responsibility is the entire subject in your CS professional. Okay, so understand, there must be so many things in this. It is not the CSR what you people have heard in your CS EET level. Okay, or whatever earlier it was a part of CS executive level. There is many more things in this. Okay, so the section was added in Companies Act 2013, that is section 135. Okay, now so which companies are required to contribute out of their profits? Is this for all the companies? No, there is applicability for that. So section 135 subsection 1 talks about applicability. Every company having net worth of 500 CR or more, or turnover of 1000 CR or more, or net profit of 5 CR or more. So can you see or is written in it? So if it's, and it's every company, means it is for public company also, private company also, big company, small company, holding company, subsidiary company, foreign company, all companies. Okay, so every company whose net worth is 500 CR or more, or turnover is 1000 CR or more, or net profit is 5 CR or more, during the immediately preceding financial year, shall constitute a CSR committee. Please understand one thing. What is this CSR I told you? What is CSR committee? Like for example, if suppose Reliance Industries Limited is required to contribute as a CSR, obviously yes, all the three conditions they will satisfy. Yes or no? However, law says it is net worth or a turnover or a net profit, but Reliance is going to satisfy all the three categories. So now how to contribute as a CSR, how to conduct this CSR contribution? So one day when I was passing by from Reliance head office, registered office, I saw Mukesh Ambani ji was standing outside his office. What he was doing, he was distributing 500 rupees to everybody. He was distributing 500 rupees to everybody. So I went there. He's my friend. I went there and I asked him. I told him, Mukesh bhai, what is this? Why are you distributing money to everybody? So he told me, you want? No, I don't want. Okay, please. So, so he told me this is CSR activity. So tell me one thing, Mukesh Ambani is going to do all this as a CSR activity? If he does all these things, who will run the business? Who will prepare strategies? Yes or no? So who is going to execute this contribution activity? So there is a separate committee inside the company. There is a separate committee inside the company who is going to look after planning this activity of contribution and also execution of this activity. Understood? Who is going to look after the execution? CSR committee. So that is where CSR committee comes into the picture. Which companies are required to form a separate committee called a CSR committee? The applicability. Applicability. You need to see if the net worth is 500 CR or more, or turnover is 1000 CR or more, or net profit is 5 CR or more during the immediately preceding financial year. So if any of the companies satisfy any one of the conditions also, CSR rules are applicable and you need to form CSR committee. Clear everybody? Yes. Now, what is the duties of this CSR committee? What do they need to do? So they have to look after formulation of CSR policy, making the plan, and execution of that plan. Okay. Now, how much contribution they need to do? Correct. They have to contribute at least 2% of the net profits made by the company in the preceding 3 financial years. So you need to take out the average obviously. So average net profit of 3 preceding years ka 2%. Okay, that is going to be your what? CSR expenditure. Okay, that much amount you're going to spend for the benefit of society. But if you calculate that amount, 2% of average net profits made by the company in the preceding 3 financial year, if you calculate that amount and if the amount of CSR expenditure is not exceeding 50 lakh rupees, if the amount does not exceed 50 lakh rupees, then law says that the amount is very less. So no need to form a separate committee as a CSR committee. So CSR committee requirement is not applicable if the amount of CSR expenditure is not exceeding 50 lakh rupees. Everybody understood? So in such case, there will be no CSR committee in the company. Okay, so now if there is no CSR committee in the company, who is going to discharge all the functions? Board of directors. So board of directors shall discharge all the functions, all the jobs of CSR committee will be done by board of directors. Easy? Fine? Yes. Then there is something called as unspent CSR account. There is something called as unspent CSR account. What is this unspent CSR account? See, I told you company have to spend how much? 2% of average net profits made by the company in the preceding 3 financial, right? What if company don't spend that money? If company don't spend that money, so can company keep that money with itself? No. Company have to transfer that amount, unspent money, in a separate account to be opened in a scheduled bank in the name of unspent CSR account. So company will transfer that money in that account. Okay, and there is further rules also related to this, that company have to spend that money within a period of 3 years. Okay, yeah, there is rule for that also, ongoing project, not ongoing project, and so on. But right now we don't have that chapter, we are just talking about CSR committee. Okay, so you need to transfer it in a separate account called as unspent CSR account. So once the amount is transferred in the unspent CSR account, now company have to use that money for the benefit of society as per CSR rules within a period of 3 years. Understood everybody? If company does not use that money within a period of 3 years, then this unspent money will be transferred to the funds which are given in schedule number 7. Okay, yes, so this is the rule which I told you about unspent CSR money. Now we are coming to composition of CSR committee. Okay, first what we did, applicability. Then we did what is the duty and when you not required to form a CSR committee. Okay, then amount is transferred to unspent CSR account. Now fourth one is composition of CSR committee. What is this composition of CSR committee? See, first, CSR committee shall consist of 3 or more directors. 3 or more directors of the company shall be the part of CSR committee, out of which at least one shall be independent director. Minimum 3 directors, one shall be independent director. But what if companies are not required to appoint independent director? Because CSR rules are applicable to every company, including private company also. So in private companies, you don't need to appoint independent director. So if company is not required to appoint independent director, in such case, the CSR committee shall consist of 2 or more directors only. Okay, yes. Then, what about private companies? If there is a private company, in private company they form CSR committee. So in that case, only 2 directors shall form a CSR committee with such 2 directors. Is this clear? Okay. Now, in case of foreign company, if we talk about foreign companies, come on, for foreign companies, these rules are applicable? Yes, it is every company, including foreign company. You know what is the meaning of foreign company? Company which is incorporated outside India but having place of business in India. So such companies also have to make CSR contribution if the rules are applicable on such company. So in case of foreign company, the CSR committee shall consist of what? You will say minimum 2 directors, minimum 3 directors. But, can I say there are different company law in different countries? So if we ask them that you have to appoint minimum 2 directors of your company as a part of CSR committee, they will say that we have no concept of director in our company. In our law, there is no concept of director. We have minimum 2 managers. We have minimum 2 officers. You know, different laws have given different positions. Like we are using the term directors. In many companies, there are 2 or more managers, superior managers, right? So there are different names, officers of the company, different names are used. So what if there is no director position in that company? So then what to do? They will say, okay, so this rule is not applicable to us. So therefore here we are saying that at least 2 persons. Here we are saying at least 2 persons shall be the part of the CSR committee, out of which at least 1 person shall be resident of India. Understood? Yes. So we are done with this. Now meetings of the CSR committee. What are the rules for meetings? Come on, everyone. CSR committee shall meet as often as necessary, subject to minimum as prescribed by board. So no minimum number of meetings specified in Companies Act. Okay. Yes. Now, the member of committee appointed by board or elected by committee as the chairman of committee. Who shall be the chairman? A person who is elected by the committee or by the board. Okay, if no chairman is elected in the committee, then what to do? If chairman is not appointed, or if appointed but he is unable to attend the meeting, in such case the members present in the meeting shall appoint one of them as the chairman. Okay, what is the quorum for such committee meeting? So quorum is again as prescribed by board. And if board has not prescribed any such thing, then all the members of the committee requires to be present to form the quorum. Easy, same as earlier. Now what are the functions? I already told you. The committee is going to formulate the plan to board. Formulate and recommend to the board. What they are going to formulate? They are going to formulate CSR policy, means the plan. Okay, that is activities which they are going to do as a CSR activity as specified in schedule number 7. You know, company can undertake activity as a CSR activity, only those activities which are a part of schedule number 7. Okay, then to recommend the amount of CSR expenditure to be incurred as CSR activity. It means they will calculate the amount and recommend to the board. Then they will monitor the CSR policy to the company from time to time. And further activities, will prepare the list, they will change the plan as required and so on. Okay, and the disclosure related to CSR committee, in fact this point is applicable for all the types of committees. You know, the board report forming the part of annual report, it contains every detail of the company. So you know who all are there in your committee. What is the composition of different types of committees, with names, with positions, is given in the board report forming the part of annual report. Okay, so can you see this? Board of directors in their report are going to specify the composition of CSR committee, CSR policy, projects approved by board. If there is website, put it on the website as well. Right, so all these things are here. Any doubt in this? So we are done with the CSR committee also. So no need to wait for CSR chapter. It's done from here itself. And so whatever types of committees we did just now, These are the different types of committees. As per Companies Act, there are sections given for these committees. But there can be other board committees as well. But these other board committees are voluntarily formed. These other committees are voluntarily formed by the company. You understand the meaning of this? Means company can have more committees. Like for example, Tata Motors have a committee voluntarily formed with regard to health and safety. So you can have more committees. As a few examples are given here. Can you see a few examples of such committee? Are Corporate Governance Committee, Science, Technology and Sustainability Committee, Regulatory Compliance and Government Affairs Committee, Investment Committee, Ethics Committee. All these are optional. Okay, easy everybody, done. So we're done with different types of committees, and then further we will continue with the chapter from section 179 onwards. Easy. Break time. Okay, so we'll take a break and then we will continue after break, and we'll finish this chapter today 100%, because we have discussed too much of things today. So take a small break. No, I have my next. हाँ, मैंने बोला ना वो करते अपन कल. Today we started this chapter on students' demand. I received 3-4 messages on Instagram that we have covered 2 chapters of directors, KMP and directors. So only one is left. So they told me, sir, finish it off so that we can cover entire directors. Share capital anyways we are going to do. We have one more class. So don't worry. Okay, chalo then. See you after a short break. Chalo. So let's continue. What's the next topic? Next topic is section number 179, powers of board. So very simple topic. Powers of board means क्या होता है? You know, in this, here we are talking about a list of items which company can do just by passing board resolution in board meeting. You know, there are different types of board resolution. One resolution which is passed in the board meeting, and another is resolution which is passed without board meeting, that is called by circulation. But here we are talking about the list of items which company can do just by passing board resolution in board meeting. Okay, means no need to take the approval of shareholders. Okay, that is about 179. So here you can see the list of items. Can you see this? To make the calls on shareholders for the money unpaid on shares, then authorize buyback of shares, issue securities, debentures, whether in India or outside India, to borrow money, to invest funds of the company, to grant loans, guarantee security loans, to approve financial statements and board report, to diversify the business of company, to approve amalgamation, merger and reconstruction, to take over a company, acquire, controlling, to make political contribution, to approve or remove the KMP, then to appoint internal auditors and secretarial auditors. All these things can be done just by passing board resolution in board meeting, and approval of member is not required. Here it is, only by the means of passing a resolution at the meeting of board. Okay, so this is the list. Now you know what, the board of directors may delegate power to any of the director, officer, manager, any of the committees. Which powers they can delegate? As they deem fit. By passing what? By passing board resolution in board meeting. Okay, here it is. They can delegate power to any of them by passing board resolution in board meeting. Okay, now what are the powers of board? Their power is to borrow money for the company. So for making the borrowings, the approval of members is not required. To invest the funds of the company, to grant loans, investment, guarantee and security. Anyways, this three is already part of this list. Okay, so here you need to learn this list. And then you know what, when we talk about section 8 company, the board of directors have the same power, but the powers of board, the following powers of board can be exercised in case of section 8 company by passing board resolution in board meeting or even by circulation. Okay, for section 8 company, that is the relaxation. Okay, that can be done by passing board resolution in board meeting or even by circulation. This is one thing. And next is yes, that is in case of banking company. Now you can see these activities: borrow money, invest funds of the company, to grant loans and guarantee security. All these powers of board, this section 179 is not applicable on banking companies. Why it is not applicable on banking companies? Because banking companies deals with these transactions every day. So every day they need to conduct board meeting. So many board meetings for passing so many board resolutions. Therefore this is not applicable. Okay, easy. So it is not applicable on banking companies. So after understanding this list of items, you just need to keep two notes in your mind. One, section 8 company. For section 8 company, board can exercise power by passing board resolution in board meeting or by circulation. And secondly, the above provisions are not applicable in case of banking company. Okay, so we are done with this. Here it is, section 8 company, you can see. So this can be decided by passing board resolution by circulation instead at a meeting. So meeting conduct, yes, it is not necessary for section 8 company to conduct a meeting. Okay, that was a 179. Next is 180. What is 180? Restrictions on the power of board. Means here in this section we are going to see the activities Here we are going to see the list of items which board cannot do by its own. Means here there are total 5 points in my notes, but in module those 5 points are converted into 4 points. Okay, so this contains the restrictions on the power of board. Means board does not have this power. Means board is required to take the approval of members. Okay, so which are those activities? So here you can see that is A, B, C and D. These are the 4 things which board cannot do without approval of shareholders. Okay, so to exercise the following powers, board is required to pass special resolution in general meeting. Without SR, this is not possible. Okay, so what are the restrictions? Let's see. Which are those circumstances for which board is required to take the approval of members? Let's see. First is to sell, lease, dispose of. If company wants to sell, if company wants to lease, or if company wants to dispose of, what? The whole or substantially the whole of undertaking. The whole or substantially the whole of undertaking of the company. Okay, so for this purpose, company is required to pass SR. Now the point is, what is the meaning of undertaking? What is the meaning of substantially the whole of undertaking? So the meaning is given here. It is not about that if company wants to sell any unit, there is restrictions on the power of board. You need to pass SR, because here you saw the point, it says to sell. So it is not necessary that always you need to pass SR for selling any unit of the company. The restriction is for selling what? The whole of undertaking or substantially the whole of undertaking, right? So it is for this thing. So what is undertaking first? So here you can see the meaning of undertaking is given, and also substantially the whole of undertaking is also explained here. Okay, so for this particular section, the whole of undertaking means what? A unit in which, how to check whether this unit of company is an undertaking or not. So in that you need to see firstly how much amount of investment is made by the company. Okay, that will determine whether this unit is an undertaking or it is not an undertaking. Okay, so the point is, an undertaking means an undertaking in which the investment made by the company exceeds 20% of its net worth. Understood? So if the amount of investment made by the company is exceeding 20% of its net worth, okay, then that is called as what? Substantially the whole of, then it is called as whole of undertaking. Easy? So how will you check? This will be determined by the amount of investment made by the company. Okay, or there is one more option, or you need to see, does this unit, how much how much profit is contributed by this unit of the company. So if this is an undertaking which generates 20% of the total income of the company, understood, means this unit generates a good amount of profit in the total profits of the company, and company is willing to sell this unit only. Company wants to sell, lease, dispose of this unit. That means you are going to sell, lease, dispose of a good part of the company. So for that you need to take the approval of owners. Owners being shareholders, that is by passing SR. So that is the logic. Okay. So undertaking means what? How will you check? First you will see what? Amount of investment made by the company exceeding 20% of its net worth, or a undertaking which generates 20% of the total profits. Here it is 20%. For investment is more than 20%. Okay, so if it generates the 20% of total income of the company, then that is an undertaking for us. Now next is substantially the whole of undertaking. What is this substantially the whole of undertaking? So this will be determined by the value of undertaking. Like for example, there are so many units of this company. Okay, if we are going to sell this unit, particular unit we are going to sell. So what is the value of that undertaking? If the value of that undertaking is 20% or more of the total value of all the undertakings, the unit what you are going to sell, the value of that is 20% or more of the value of total undertakings of the company. Means you are selling, dispose of or lease good part of the undertaking. That is called substantially the whole. So substantially the whole is determined by the value. Okay, so if this type of unit company wants to sell is dispose of, there is a restriction. Company is required to pass special resolution. So with this we are done with our first restriction, first point. Okay, second restriction is if company wants to invest the amount of compensation received by it, okay, due to merger or amalgamation. In merger or amalgamation, company has received what? Amount of compensation in merger and amalgamation. If company has received such an amount, and if company wants to invest this amount anywhere, so company is required to pass special resolution first. However, if company wants to invest this money in trust securities, then there is no restriction. Then SR is not required. Can you see this? Otherwise in trust securities means if company wants to invest this money in trust securities, then rule is not applicable. Then there is no such restriction. SR is not required. But if company wants to invest this money anywhere else, company is required to take the approval of shareholders by passing SR. Easy, everyone? Okay, what is next? The third point is if company wants to borrow money. If company wants to borrow money. Now you know what? If you see the power of board here. So in power of board you can see the first point itself, it is saying to borrow money is power of board. Means member approval is not required. Correct? And here we are saying power of board, can you see this, to make the borrowings is restriction on the power of board. So is this getting contradicting? No. Because here in this point we are talking about the limit. Obviously to make the borrowings it is power of board. Means that can be done just by passing board resolution in board meeting. But if company wants to make the borrowing beyond the limit, then company is required to pass special resolution. Then there is restrictions on the power of board. Okay, so this is the point all about to make the borrowing. Okay, to borrow money, how much? That is beyond the limit. What is the limit? 100% of paid up share capital plus free reserves plus security premium. This is the limit. Is this clear? So if company wants to make the borrowing beyond this limit, SR is required. Now when you calculate your borrowings, firstly you need to calculate your borrowings in total borrowings, means existing borrowing as well as proposed borrowing. Means first you need to see what is the existing borrowing of the company, what is the borrowing which is already company has taken. So that borrowing as well as the proposed borrowing. Total borrowings of the company should not exceed the limit. If it is exceeding the limit, you need to pass SR. Okay, so this is the case. One more thing, one more note. First note I told you, you need to calculate the total borrowings, existing as well as proposed. Second note, when you calculate your total borrowings, in such case, temporary loans shall be excluded. Can you see this? Apart from temporary loans. Temporary loans shall be excluded. Okay, so temporary loan shall not be included while calculating the total borrowings. Easy? Yes. Now what is the meaning of temporary loans? So it is a loan which company have to repay on demand or within a period of 6 months. Or within a period of 6 months. That is called temporary loans. Okay, so such type of borrowing shall be excluded while calculating the total borrowings. Easy, everybody? Now one more thing. Please understand this thing. The loans, that is the money raised for the purpose of financial expenditure of capital nature. Okay, company has raised money, company has borrowed money. Okay, for the purpose of what? Financial expenditure which is of capital nature. If you have borrowed money for this purpose, this is not a temporary loan. This is not considered as a temporary loan, even if it is repayable on demand or within 6 months. This is excluded from the explanation of temporary loans. So now my question is, come on, tell me. We are concluding this point now. What is the limit? Limit is 100% of paid up share capital plus free reserves plus security premium. So if company is making borrowing beyond this limit, you need to pass SR. Correct? Second point. While you calculate the total borrowings, you need to calculate existing borrowing as well as proposed borrowing. Next point. Whenever you are calculating your borrowing, you need to exclude what? Temporary loans. But there is a kind of borrowing, there is a kind of loan which is excluded from temporary loan. That is loan which is raised for the purpose of financial expenditure, which is of capital nature. So this type of loan is not a temporary loan. So now you tell me, when you will calculate your borrowings, are you going to add this loan? Are you going to add this loan? Yes or no? Are you going to add this loan? Answer is yes, this is to be added. Because what is excluded? Temporary loan is excluded. This is not a temporary loan. Therefore, this is to be added. Understood? And temporary loan shall not be added. So I hope this thing is very clear to everybody. Point number 1, 2 and 3. Okay? And the last point is, can company provide loans to its own director? Come on. Can company provide loans to its own director? No, 185. That is different exceptions. So generally there is not allowed. Sorry. In 185 subsection 3, you remember what was it? As per the scheme approved by the members by passing SR. So I'm not talking about that, no. I'm talking about the restrictions. So it is not allowed. Correct? So therefore that is your point number D. Last point. If company wants to do any of this, company can do this by passing special resolution in general meeting. Very simple. And then we have one point here, note, that is, this section shall not be applicable on private companies. Here it is. This is not applicable to private companies. Okay, so here your 180 is also over from your module. This is illustration. And now we are going to your next section. Now we are going to do here 3 sections, 181, 182, 183. Very small sections. Come on, now concentrate everybody. All these 3 sections are talking about what? Contributions. They are talking about what? Contributions made by the company. Section 181 talks about contribution to charitable fund. Contribution to charitable fund. Come on. Can company make charitable contribution? Yes. Okay. Is it compulsory for company to make charitable contribution? No. If company wants to make charitable contribution, then company can do so by following 181. 181. Okay. So 181, you can see such a small sections, only 2 lines, 2 statements are given there. So firstly, what is the point? First point is, you just need to check the limit. If company is making charitable contribution within the limit, this can be done just by passing board resolution. If it is done beyond the limit, company can do that by passing members resolution. Means members approval is required then. Members resolution, which type of resolution? OR or SR? Here you need to pass OR, ordinary resolution, if it is beyond the limit. Now the point is, what is the limit? So the limit is 5% of average net profits made by the company in the preceding 3 financial year. This is the limit. So here you need to check what? Here you need to check what is the amount of contribution which is made by the company. If the amount is within 5% of average net profit made by the company in the 3 preceding financial year, if the amount of contribution is within the limit, then company can do this just by passing board resolution. But if it is beyond the limit, can you see this exceeds the limit? If it exceeds the limit, then prior permission of company in general meeting is required. That is, you need to pass OR. Okay, simple. 181 is over. It's only this much. So you need to memorize this limit. Okay, now 182. That is political contribution. Political contribution. Can company make contribution to political parties? Yes, company can make contribution to political parties, but for that, there are few companies which are allowed to make this type of contribution. There are companies which are not allowed to make this type of contribution. Come on, first, companies which are not allowed to make political contribution. Government company. Second, companies which are, let's say for example, non-government company, because government company are anyways not allowed. So what about non-government company? So non-government company is not allowed if the existence is less than 3 years. Come on, government company not allowed. Non-government company allowed, not allowed? Not allowed if it is in existence for less than 3 years, not 3, less than 3. Then that company is also not allowed. So which companies are allowed? Is government company allowed? No. Non-government companies are allowed? Yes, if they are in existence for 3 or more years, then it is allowed. Okay, so this was about which companies can make this contribution, which companies cannot make this contribution. Here it is, you can see. Okay, yes. Now for making a political contribution, is company required to take the approval of members of company? Is company required to pass ORSR? Yes, no. Answer is no. Answer is no. This contribution can be done just by passing board resolution in board meeting. This can be done just by passing board. Can you see this? Every company shall pass board resolution at board meeting to authorize political contribution. Are, do you know this was one of the powers of board? See this in the list. 179. See this. So this can be done just by passing board resolution in board meeting. Okay, done. So pass board resolution at board meeting. What is the limit for this type of contribution? Political contribution, there is no limit. Means company can make whatever amount of contribution they want to make. Easy? Okay, next is, if company make this contribution, company have to give the disclosure in P&L account. Okay, P&L account. Then what is the mode of payment? Company can make the contribution in check. Political contribution in check. Check is okay? Yes. Account payee check is okay. Then account payee bank draft is also okay. Electronic clearing system is also okay. But not cash. Okay. Very clear. Then here you can see the meaning of political party is given. Okay. You see this. If company makes the contribution in contravention of section 182, is company required to do this compulsorily? No, it is optional. Yes or no? But if company wants to make contribution to political party, then company is required to follow 182. Hey, one more thing, is this a CSR activity? In CSR rules, it is clearly mentioned that contribution made under section 182 is not a CSR activity. In CSR rules, it is clearly mentioned there, the contribution made under section 182 is not a CSR activity. Okay, fine. Now if company makes contravention of this section 182, so then in that case there is a penalty. So for companies, what is the penalty? Fine which may extend to 5 times the amount of contribution made. If company has made contribution of, let's say, 1 crore rupees by non-complying this, so amount of fine can be 5 crores, and that is the maximum fine, because it is said that it may extend to 5 times. And for officer in default, imprisonment, which may extend to 6 months, and fine, which may extend to 5 times the amount of contribution made. Okay, so this was the 181 and 182. Now the third type of contribution is 183. What is 183? See, understand. Here we are talking about contribution to National Defense Fund. Okay, National Defense Fund. What do you think? Will law restrict companies to make contribution to National Defense Fund? Obviously no. In fact, law will provide relaxation. Do you need to take the approval of shareholders in this case? No. For National Defense Fund, for political contribution, shareholder approval is not required. For National Defense Fund, it is required. What is this logic? So here also answer is no. So this can be done just by passing board resolution in board meeting. Is this clear to everybody? Then what is the amount of contribution? No limit on the amount of such contribution. Can you see this? Contribute such amount as it thinks fit to National Defense Fund or any other fund approved by central government for the purpose of national defense. And if company is making contribution under this, company is required to give disclosure in profit and loss account of the amount which company has made in the form of contribution. Is this clear? So 181, 182, 183, all the three are done. Now 184 and 185 was already done in the chapter called as directors, right? And therefore now we are moving to section number 186. 3 sections are left, then chapter is over. That is 186, 187, 188. 3 sections are left, then this chapter is over. 186, 187, 188. 196 हुआ. This is 186, intercorporate loans. Come on. Online, all are listening? Online, are you all ready with your module? Okay. Anyone from Mulund branch in online? Yes sir, yes sir. See, you can see, yes sir, yes sir. Anyone from Ahmedabad? Bangalore? Okay, chalo. So, shall we start? 186. Now what is 186? It is intercorporate loans, investment, guarantee and security. Firstly, what is this intercorporate loans? When one company is giving loan to another company or any other person, it is called intercorporate loans. So whenever a company is giving loan to another company, section 186 is applicable. Second, so first word was loans. I told you what is intercorporate loans. Second is guarantee. Suppose if a company has taken loan from a bank, but that bank was not approving loan for such companies because that bank needs guarantee. Now our company is providing guarantee for his loan. So are we providing a guarantee for our loan? No. We are providing guarantee for loan of some other company? Yes. Intercorporate guarantee. 186 is applicable. Then we have a word that is security. Now again, same thing, a company has taken loan from some bank. Now bank was not approving loan for them. Now our company has provided security for such loan. Means our company kept its own property as a security for such loan. Intercorporate security. Again, 186 is applicable. Then we have word called as investments. Intercorporate investment. What is intercorporate investments? When our company give funds to another company. Why? To invest in some other company. We are giving money to another company so that that company can invest our company somewhere else. So why can't we directly invest? Why are we giving money to another company for making investment? Because that company is doing that in their ordinary course of business. That company is called as investment company. Right? So there are intermediaries. So we give money to them and then they make investment on our behalf. So that is called intercorporate investments. So for all these transactions, 186, section 186 is applicable. Okay, so let's go. Now see, when we talk about loans, guarantees, security, this term was also covered in section 179. Do you remember 179? See this, in 179, you can see the third one. Can you see grant loans, guarantee, security? So this was one of the powers of board. Means this can be done by passing board resolution at board meeting. Yes or no? So can I say, when I am saying that for intercorporate loans, guarantees, security, investments, 186 is applicable, that means can I say this can be done just by passing board resolution? No, there is a limit for that also. We'll talk about it. Okay? But what does 186 say? Let us go with that one by one. So first thing is, are you clear with what is intercorporate loans? Meaning of intercorporate loans, guarantee and security? Okay. Now the point says that whenever company intends to make or provide, whenever company intends to make or provide loan, guarantee, security and investment. Okay, if company intends to enter into any of these transactions, we told 186 is applicable, right? But you know what, the point says that section 186 says that if company is doing any of these transactions with any person, then section number 186 is applicable. Correct? This is the rule, 186 is applicable, right? But there are two notes. Note number one, if company is doing any of these transactions with any person, then 186 is applicable, but the term any person excludes the person who is in the employment of company. Means what? Means if company enters into any of the transactions with its own employee, 186 is not applicable. This is note number one. Now note number two, if company makes investment in any entity or securities of entity other than body corporate, 186 is not applicable. If company makes investment in body corporate or securities of any entity which is not a body corporate, if company makes investment in any entity which is not a body corporate, 186 is not applicable. So these are the two notes. Okay, clear everybody? Yes, this was one thing. Then here you can see there are few definitions given, few terms are explained here. Okay. Okay, so all these terms are explained here, but here your section starts. 186 starts from here. These are also important terms, these are definitions. Now, yes, everyone. So, just now I told you, friends, our company gives money to another company. Why? So that that company can make investments on our behalf. That company is going to invest in some other company, right? So suppose this is our company. This is our company. This is investment company. So we gave funds to this company. We gave funds to this company. Why? So that this company can invest in some other company. Correct? So now tell me, I gave fund to B Limited to make investment further. So now what will this company do? This company will invest in another company. But what this company did? B Limited gave those funds to another company, C Limited. Why? To invest in some other company. So can you see here, this is layer 1 of my investment. Then my funds were given to this company. This is layer 2 of my investment. Are you getting my point? Is this much okay? Yes. But if my company gave money to B Limited to invest further, but what if B Limited give those funds to Mr. C? That please make investments further. That means what C Limited did, C Limited now invested the funds. So can I say this becomes my layer 3 of investment? So third layer is not allowed. This is not allowed. Because as per section 186, subsection 1, the number of layers of investment company shall not exceed 2. Okay. Can you see this? A company from making investment through not more than 2 layers of investment company. So section 180 restricts the power. Is this clear? Okay, what if my company gave money? What if my company A Limited gave money to X Limited for making investment? Then my company gave money to Y Limited. Then my company gave money to Z Limited. Then my company gave money to Q Limited. Then my company gave money to R Limited. Oh no, my company gave money to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companies. Is this okay? But my company is giving money to all of these companies for making investments further. So there is restriction on the number of layers and there is no restriction on the number of companies. See, even if there are 5 companies, but can I say all these are the first layers of company? So therefore there is not a problem. Clear? So this is about the layers. Now there are exceptions also. So what is the general rule? Company cannot have more than 2 layers of investment companies. But what are the exceptions? Concentrate. Suppose there is one company incorporated in India. That is Indian company. Indian company acquired a company which is incorporated outside India. Company which is incorporated outside India. Foreign company. Okay, so our company has acquired this company. Now, this foreign company was already having more than 2 layers of investment company. Already having more than 2 layers of investment company. Why? Because that was allowed as per the law of that country. So therefore it was having more than 2 layers. So now if our company will acquire this company, means our company will make investment in that company. So can I say indirectly now our company is having more than 2 layers? So is this allowed? Is this allowed? So this is an exception. This is allowed. Okay, so there is no problem with this. Even if company is having more than 2 layers, in this case it is allowed. There are no problem, there is no restriction in this. This is the point which we did just now. Okay, easy. Okay, what if I say a company is incorporated in India and there is one more company incorporated in India. If this company acquires this company, if our company acquires the another company, so earlier this company, the number of layers were within the limit, no problem at all. But after this acquisition, okay, earlier our layer was also proper, no problem at all. But as this acquisition was done, this was an acquisition due to which number of layers exceeded 2. You understood? Now number of layers exceeded 2 because of this acquisition. So now can I say now we are having more than 2 layers? Come on, problem, no problem. Is this allowed? It is not allowed. Is this allowed? It is not allowed. It is allowed. What are you saying? Why? So when you make investment, then only there will be a layer, no? So just understand, see the logic. When you make investment, okay, in case of this is a foreign company, therefore it is an exception, no problem, exempted. This is a Indian company to Indian company, then also relaxation. Then rule is made for which company? It is our layer. We are making investment. Acquisition means you are investing your money in this. So when one Indian company was acquiring a foreign company and this foreign company was having more than 2 layers as per the law of that country, then we told no problem, this is allowed. Correct? So in case of foreign company, exemption. In case of Indian company, exemption. Then this rule is made for which company? Bangladesh company? If both companies are exempted, Indian as well as foreign, then these rules are for what? For which companies? For which companies then? I told this in class also, do you remember? The same thing. This is not an exception. This is not an exception. Okay? I use this example just to test you. Where is this point written here? There is no such point. You are this. Then why will I ask this question? क्या बोलता है दोस्त? If तू ये सोच के बोला, then why this, in this example this company is not making an investment only? Then why will I ask this question? So this is not an exception. Okay, when one Indian company is acquiring another Indian company due to which the layers are getting exceeded, so in that case that is not an exception and the layers restriction that is up to 2 layers is applicable. Okay, and then last exception is given here. That is what? A subsidiary company from having any investment subsidiary for the purpose of meeting the requirements under any law, okay, for the time being in force. What is this? See, here we are talking about, suppose a company is having more than 2 layers. Why? Because there is some specific law which is applicable on such company, and that law is allowing that company to have more than 2 layers. Example was banking company. There is a special law, that is Banking Regulation Act 1949, which allows banking company to have up to 5 layers. So there is a specific law which is allowing that company. Are you getting the point? So if there is a specific law which is applicable on that company and that law is allowing you to have more than 2 layers, that becomes an exception. Easy. So this was your subsection number 1. Along with the 2 exceptions, this is not an exception. Okay, clear everybody? Okay, this was your subsection number 1. Now we are moving to subsection number 2, which is the main part of this section. Come on, company can provide loan, investment, guarantee, security? Yes. Okay, but friends, you know there is a limit. Tell me, if company wants to enter into any of the transactions, loan, investment, guarantee, security, company is required to obtain the approval of shareholders, or company is not required to obtain the shareholders approval. So here generally it is one of the powers of board, correct? But if it exceeds the limit, then company is required to take the approval of shareholders, members. Okay, so here is the limit in front of you, that is given in subsection number 2. Okay, what does it say? Company cannot give loan, guarantee, security, investments. Company cannot do any of these exceeding the limit. What is the limit? 60% of paid up share capital plus free reserves plus security premium, or 100% of free reserves and security premium, whichever is higher. Okay, this is the limit. That is 60% of all the three, or 100% of free reserves plus security premium, whichever is higher. Okay, so this is the limit. So if company is doing transaction within the limit, as you know, this is one of the powers of board. You need to pass the board resolution in board meeting. Yeah, but you know what? There are types of board resolution. Generally, when we say pass board resolution means what? Majority votes. But here, for this particular section, it is unanimous votes. Means here you need to take the consent of 100% of directors of company present in the meeting. Okay? Yes? Can you see this? Approval of all the directors at the board meeting. So this transaction cannot be done unless a resolution is passed at the board meeting with the consent of all the directors present at the meeting. Is this clear to everybody? Everyone? Okay. Now what if company has already obtained loan and now company is giving loan? Intercorporate loan is giving loan, guarantee, security. But company has already obtained loan from somewhere. So now company has obtained loan and now company is intended to give loan. So if company has obtained loan, I am not talking about the default made. Even if the company has just obtained loan and now company is willing to give loan. So if company want to do this giving loan transaction, that is intercorporate loan, guarantee, security transaction, for this purpose company is required to pass prior approval. Company is required to take the prior approval of such bank, financial institution from whom the loan is being taken. Can you see this? Prior approval of public financial institution is required. Okay, where any term loan is subsisting is obtained. Easy? Yes, and I already told you, if you are entering into a transaction exceeding the limit given in subsection 2, that is 60% of all the three or 100% of this 2, whichever is higher. If you are going to do this beyond the limit, you need to pass special resolution in general meeting. Then SR is required. Easy? Okay, now when we are talking about this SR, suppose if there is a transaction of loan or guarantee between a holding company to its wholly owned subsidiary company or joint venture company. Okay, means a holding company is giving loan, guarantee, security to its wholly owned subsidiary company or joint venture company. Means can I say that wholly owned subsidiary means that is my company only, 100% holding I am having. So if I am giving loan to that company, so now what to do? In that case, SR, if I pass SR, who is going to vote? I am only going to vote because wholly owned subsidiary. Therefore in such case the rule says that you don't need to pass SR. In such case, SR is not required. Wholly owned subsidiary company and joint venture company. Okay, then whenever you calculate the limit under subsection number 2, you need to calculate the limit. I hope you know the limit, 60% or 100%, whichever it is. You need to take the limit, calculate the limit in total. What is this in total? That is your existing loan, guarantee, security, investment plus proposed loan, guarantee, security, investment. Okay, so total you need to consider when you check the limits. Is this clear to everybody? Yes. Then next is disclosure in the financial statements. Obviously, if you're giving loan, you need to give the disclosure in the financial statements. Now, I already told you, if company has obtained loan, in that case, company is required to take prior approval of public financial institution from where the loan is being subsisting. Okay, so you need to take the prior approval of this before passing those SR or BR, because loan is subsisting loan. So here they have given separately, and in the paragraphs they have mentioned again. Okay, after this, next is this again the limit and everything. Yes, rate of interest. Will company give loan free of cost? Company will charge interest? Yes. Now see friends, here what rate of interest company can charge on this loans, intercorporate loans, giving loans. So obviously when company is charging interest, means interest is what? Returns for the company. Returns after doing this intercorporate loan transaction. So what rate of interest company can charge? So the rate of interest which company can charge shall not be less than the rate which company may have derived by making investment in the government securities for the same duration. Means if company, instead of giving loans, guarantee and security, if company will make investment of the same amount in government securities, so what will be the return of rate of interest? So company should earn minimum that much, which company would have derived by making investment in the government securities for the closer tenure. So that much rate of interest, can you see this, not lower than? Yes, and this requirement of rate of interest is not applicable on Section 8 company. Is not applicable on Section 8 company that this much rate of interest should be there. That is not applicable on Section 8 company if two things. If 26% or more of the total share capital is with the government. Which government? Central, state or both. If 26% or more of such Section 8 company is with the government. First point. And second, Section 8 company is giving loan for what purpose? For research and development project in pursuance of its object of company. Like for example, we are talking about intercorporate loans, means we are talking about giving loans. So when you give loan, rate of interest you will charge? Yes. So Section 8 company can charge any rate of interest. Here there is no requirement of you should earn minimum this much rate of interest. That is requirement is not applicable on Section 8 company. Which Section 8 company? Whose 26% or more is with the government, central government, state government or both. Correct? This is one condition. Second condition is loan must be given for what purpose? Loan must be given for research and development projects in pursuance to its object. Like for example, if there is a Section 8 company and its object is to promote education. Okay, so now company, Section 8 company is giving loan. So if Section 8 company is giving loan for research and development project related to education, so in that case, rate of interest requirement limit is not applicable on such Section 8 company. नहीं समझा. Anyone. And then, okay, if company has made default in the repayment of deposits accepted before or after the commencement of this act, in the payment of interest, so in such case, company cannot give loan, guarantee, security, okay, till such default subsist. So if there is a default of this, company cannot enter into this transaction of intercorporate loan, investment, guarantee, security. Okay. Yes. Now next is registers of loan, guarantee, securities. Very simple. Whatever company is doing the transaction, loan, guarantee, security, investments, company have to maintain a register for this. Register in which format? MBP2. Very simple. It shall contain the details of what? Details of any of these transactions. Okay. Entries shall be made in the register within a period of 7 days of making such transaction. Register is to be kept at the registered office of company, open for inspection at such office. This register shall be preserved permanently, kept in the custody of CS or any person authorized by board. Entries must be authenticated by CS or any other person authorized by board. Okay, register can be maintained manually also, electronic mode also. The content from the register can be given to any member on payment of such fees, but shall not exceed 10 rupees per page. However, articles can prescribe for a lesser amount, but maximum amount per page can be 10 rupees. Okay, there is a doubt what to do in annual report chapter. Beta, in annual report chapter you will see section wise they have given the list of contents. Like they can ask you in exam, what companies are required to give the disclosure with regard to ESOPs. Okay, so you should know what all disclosure is to be given with regard to ESOPs. So you need to learn all the contents of all the disclosures. Then the main part is signing of report, board report, annual report, format, filing, that's all. Okay, fine. If we move further, 186, come on, non-applicability of 186. There are few companies who enter into these transactions of loan, guarantee, security every day. Therefore, the section 186 is not applicable on such companies. Which are those companies? Very simple. Banking companies. They all are acting in the ordinary course of business. Yes or no? They are acting in the ordinary course of business. So they are banking companies, insurance companies, housing finance companies, right? Then you will see NBFCs registered with RBI, right? Then you will see companies which are involved in infrastructure facilities. What is infrastructure facilities? Infrastructure facilities means all the activities which are mentioned in schedule number 6. Schedule number 6. Okay, if we are talking about investment, so as I told you, we give money to another company to make investments on our behalf. So why we are giving money to another company? Because that company is investment company. Because that is his daily activity. That company makes investments of funds of another party in the ordinary course of business, right? So if investment company is making investment on behalf of another, 186 is not applicable to that investment company, because that is acting in his ordinary course of business. Then in case of right issue of shares, section 62, 186 is not applicable. Okay, and then it is NBFC. So for all these companies, our section 186 is not applicable. Then there are few exemptions to government companies also. You know friends, if there is a government company, okay, government company, So is 186 applicable to government company also? So first you need to check whether the government company is involved in defense production or not. If it is involved in defense production, come on, government company engaged in defense production. Now company may be either listed company or company may be unlisted company. Okay, now tell me, will law harass the company which is involved in defense activity? No. So in such case, whether it is listed or not listed, section 186 is not applicable. Okay, what if there is a government company which is not involved in defense production? It is not involved in defense production, means it is doing some other business. Now what to do? Now it is not in defense. So now again there can be listed companies also, unlisted companies also. So if it is a listed company, means whose money is invested here? General public. So here section number 186 is applicable. Okay, and if it is a government company which is not involved in defense production and it is unlisted, now what to do? If it is unlisted company, now what to do? If it is unlisted company, then means public money is not invested here. Then 186 is not applicable, but company is required to obtain prior approval of concerned ministry. Such company is required to obtain prior approval of such concerned ministry. Can you see this? Ministry of Department. So such companies need to take the prior approval of such ministry. Okay, with this exemption part of government company is totally done. Have you understood this government company? In defense production, not in defense production. If it is in defense production, section is not applicable. If it is not in defense production, then you need to check whether it is listed or not. If it is listed, then 186 is applicable. If it is unlisted, then not applicable, but approval of concerned ministry is required. Okay, then this is for specified IFSC companies and there is a penalty. Okay, you can see this, and then next section starts 187. Before that, have you understood 186? See, in 186 when we see the limits, 60% of paid up share capital plus free reserve plus security premium. But in that case, when you see the case study question in your paper, they will give you the details like paid up share capital is this much, so and so surplus is this much, so and so funds is this much. So in that you should know which will be included in free reserves, which will not be included in free reserves. For that you should know the definition of free reserves. You understood section 2 clause 43. You should know that. Okay, so 186 is over. Now next is 187. Everyone ready? 187, very simple section, very small section. There is one rule for exceptions, register and penalty. Section is over. Come on, what is the rule? Okay, before going to this rule, 1 minute break, because 186 was very much heavy, right? Chalo. So next is 187 and then 188. Then it's over. Come on. What is 187? Friends, 187 is very simple rule. It is just saying that investments to be held in the company's own name. देखो कंपनी जो भी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करेगा, मतलब कंपनी कोई भी प्रॉपर्टी खरीदेगा, कोई भी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करेगा, तो वो किसके नाम पे होना चाहिए? It must be made in the name of company only and not in the name of anyone else. Okay, so that is the basic rule for this section. That is yes, see this. Investments made by the company must be held in its own name and is confined only those investments which are made by it on its behalf and not on behalf of someone else. Okay, but there are few exceptions. If company purchase any property, can you see property, security, asset, it shall be in its own name only and not in the name of anyone else. Okay, but there are few exceptions to this rule. Means now in exceptions, what you are going to see? In these exceptions, you are going to see that investments are made by the company, but it is not with the company. But that is not in the name of company. Investments are made by the company, but it is in the name of someone else. Therefore, that becomes an exception. So what are the exceptions? Come on, now tell me one thing. Suppose if today we buy shares in demat form. So are we registered owner? Today our name is entered in ROM? No. Whose name is entered in ROM? Depository's name is entered in ROM, right? So if suppose MS Limited purchase the shares of Tata Motors, so that means this company has made investment in some other company. So investment made by the company. But tell me, in the Tata Motors ROM, will they record the name of MS Limited? No. They will record the name of depository. So therefore investment made by the company, but is in the name of someone else. So what is this? Exception. This is allowed. Okay, so this is one thing. Just now what we did, that was this point. Okay, next point is, suppose if today MS Limited is having shares of Tata Motors. Now MS Limited is an artificial person because it's a company, right? So is it possible that MS Limited transfer the shares of Tata Motors to its bank? Why? For the purpose of collecting dividend on its behalf. So MS Limited has transferred the shares to bank to collect dividend on its behalf. So shares investment is made by MS Limited, but shares are transferred in the name of bank. So again it's an exception. Investment made by the company, but it is held by someone else. That again becomes an exception. Okay, that is which point? First point. For the purpose of collection of dividend or interest payable. Okay, now next point. Suppose MS Limited is having shares of Tata Motors. So Tata Motors shares means MS Limited has made investment in Tata Motors. So investment made by MS Limited. But now MS Limited wants to borrow some money and that opposite party, money lender, is not giving money. He wants some security. So what MS Limited did? MS Limited pledged these shares of Tata Motors to the money lender. You understand? Pledged. Girvi. So we pledged the shares to the money lender. Okay. Now tell me, Tata Motors shares is investment made by MS Limited. So investment made by the company, but right now it is transferred to money lender. So investment made by the company, but it is held in the name of some another party. Therefore again it is an exception. That is obviously by the way of creating security for such loan, which is advanced to the company. Clear? Yes. And the last point is, suppose if company MS Limited is required to make some payment to some creditors or some suppliers or some party. So MS Limited has to make some payment with regard to some supply of raw material or something. But the opposite party is saying that first you make the payment, then we will supply the raw material. We told no, first you supply goods, then we'll make the payment. No, first you make the payment, then supply. No, first supply, then payment. Now in this case, the opposite party wants some security. Security is okay, but MS Limited will not make the payment now. So what MS Limited did, MS Limited transferred the shares of Tata Motors to them. No. MS Limited had shares of Tata Motors, that is investment made by MS Limited. These shares were transferred to the bank, okay, for creating that security for such payment. And now this was transferred to bank, and now what is this transaction between these three parties? Me, MS Limited, creditor, the supplier, and bank. So MS Limited transfer the shares of Tata Motors to bank for creating security for that person, right? Now if I make the payment on time for the raw material, this bank is going to return me the shares. This bank is going to return me the shares. But if I make default, then bank will transfer the shares back to the creditors. Understood? So that is the point. So now tell me one thing, the shares, that is Tata Motors shares, is investment made by MS Limited, but it is transferred to bank. So bank is holding the shares, which is an investment made by MS Limited. So investment made by a company held in the name of some other party. So can banks hold such type of shares for creating such type of transaction? Yes, but banks can hold such type of security for maximum 6 months. Maximum period which is allowed is 6 months. Okay, so these are the 4 exceptions of section 187. Okay, now again here also company is required to maintain a register. Register for what? For all the exceptions. Means for all those cases where investment is made by the company but it is held in some other name. So investment made by the company not held in the company's own name, means it is held in some other party's name. Understood everybody? So that is the register which is maintained. Here it is in form MBP3. What details they will contain? This register shall contain the particulars of all the transactions which are not in the name of company. Okay, so MBP3 register maintained by the company. Then register shall be kept at the registered office, the same in the name of third party. Register shall be preserved permanently in the custody of CS or any director or any other officer authorized by board. Entries in the register shall be authenticated by CS or any other person authorized by board. Simple, it's over. If you don't comply this requirement, there is a punishment. Simple. 187 is also over. And then the last one is related party transaction, that is your section number 188. So what is this related party transaction, the last one for this chapter? You know, whenever a company enters into a contract, whenever a company enters into any transaction with its related party, with its one of the related party, in such transaction section number 188 is applicable. So see, understand one thing, who can be the related party? There are many people who can be related party for the company. So there is a definition of related party here, you can see, that is given in section 2 clause number 76. Okay, all these are the, as you can see, director or his relative, KMP or his relative, the firms where our company's director, manager, relative is a partner. So basically all these points, all these parties are related parties for our company. So if our company enters into a transaction with any of these persons, 188 is applicable. If company enters into a transaction with any of these people, 188 is applicable. Because if company is doing transaction with its related party, obviously the party is going to misuse it because that party is having connection with the company. So therefore section 188 is applicable. Now what is 188 saying? Is 188 restricting the company? Is 188 is saying that you don't have to do transaction, you cannot do transaction with related party? No. So entering into a transaction with related party is not prohibited. It is not prohibited, but it is regulated. Means there are regulations for that, rules for that. So it is not prohibited, but there are rules for that. So what are the rules that we will be seeing now? Okay. So firstly, you need to learn this definition. You need to learn this by heart. Because if you don't know the parties, you don't know who is related party, how will you come to know whether 188 is applicable or not? Okay. So as I told you, there is no prohibition, there is regulation. Okay, then in Companies Act 2013, everywhere we have used the term relatives. So who is treated as relative in Companies Act? Section 2, clause 77. All these are the relatives for the persons under Companies Act. Right? Like if you remember section 184, disclosure of interest, in form MBP1, I told you that director also have to give the list of relatives. So who all will be considered as a relative? Only these relations. No other than this, nothing other than this. So first is, if you are a member of HUF, then all the members of HUF are your relative. Then spouse, husband or wife. Okay. Then the person, in accordance with Rule 4 of Companies Specification of Definition Detailed Rules 2014. Okay. What are this specification of definitions? What are the other relations? Here it is. Father including stepfather, mother including stepmother, son including stepson, son's wife, bhu, daughter, daughter's husband, right? Brother including stepbrother, sister including stepsister. All these are included here. Please understand, grandparents are not part of the definition, because grandparents fall into the relative definition of your parents. You understood? So that way it is, okay? So we are talking about the transactions which are done between company and related party. Now you know what are the regulations which they are talking about? So friends, company can enter into a transaction with related party, but there are rules. What are the rules? First thing is, concentrate everyone, you need to first see what is the nature of transaction. First thing you need to see is what? Nature of transaction. Because in Companies Act 2013, they have given the limits nature wise. See this, there is a list here. There is a table here. See this. Can you see the limits? These are the limits for these transactions. So if there is a transaction between company and related party, you need to check the limit first. Okay. If company is entering into a transaction with related party within the limit, then company can do the transaction just by passing board resolution. But if company is doing transaction with related party beyond the limit, then company is required to pass resolution of members. OR. Clear everybody? So here you can see, except with the prior approval of company by passing a resolution, company shall enter into a transaction where the transactions are entered into these natures. So there is a nature of transaction and there is a limit. So prior approval by passing the resolution in the meeting. Okay, everybody understood? So okay, what if company enters into a transaction with related party without passing those resolutions, without passing BROR, they have done the transaction. So now what to do? So now tell me one thing, if there is no such rule, who will be in loss? Company will be in loss, because everybody will misuse the feature of corporate personality. So therefore now still they are giving chance to the company only. Understand? If there is a transaction between company and related party without passing the resolution, still right now company have chance to ratify such contract within a period of 3 months. Right now company have chance to ratify such contract, means approve such contract within a period of 3 months. So if company ratifies such contract, means if company approves the contract which is entered without passing resolution, then what will happen? Then that contract is valid. So you have time of 3 months. But what if company does not ratify the contract within 3 months? Then what to do? So if company does not ratify within 3 months, now that contract shall become voidable. Still voidable. Still they are not saying void. It is voidable. That is at the option of company. That is may be valid, may be void. It depends on the option of company. No. 3 months may you can ratify it. Company can approve the contract within 3 months. So if company approves it, ratifies it within 3 months, then now that contract is valid. But if company does not ratify, so now what is the effect of that contract? So now it becomes voidable at the option of company. Okay? Understood everybody? So this is the point here. Okay, then there are exemptions to private companies, government companies. For government companies there is separate rules. Okay, then if you are doing this transaction of related party transaction, you need to give the disclosure in the board report. Okay, tell me one thing, if we are doing the transaction beyond the limit, if we are doing transaction beyond the limit with the rated party, so obviously you need to take the approval of members also by passing OR. Now suppose the rated party is rated party of company as well as the member of company, and transaction is beyond the limit. So now you will call the members of company to vote. So will he also come and vote? Because he is member also and he is rated party also. So when all members will vote, he will also come and vote. Yes or no? So here the point says that such party is not allowed to cast his vote. Why? Because he is interested party. Correct? So that is the point. And if you don't comply this requirement, there is a penalty. And one more thing very, very important is, first, learn this definition. Learn this definition of rated party. Second thing is, whenever company wants to do related party transaction, company is required to first take the prior approval of audit committee for every transaction, even if it is within the limit or it is beyond the limit. Audit committee approval is compulsory. Okay. Next thing is, if company is entering into a transaction with related party, and that transaction is done in the ordinary course of business, or it is an arm length transaction, so in that case section 188 is not applicable. If company is doing transaction in the ordinary course of business, like company, whatever product company is manufacturing, company selling, if company is doing that thing with the rated party, so in that case resolution is not required to be passed. This section is not applicable in that case. And even if it is arm length transaction, you know what is arm length transaction? Arm length transaction, whenever there is a transaction between the two related parties of the company, that is called arm length transaction. This is a company, this is a related party of a company, this is another related party of the company. When these two parties enter into a transaction, this is called arm length transaction. You understood? So in such case, if these two parties are entering into a transaction, this section is not applicable. Okay. So in ordinary course of business and arm length transaction, section is not applicable. Okay. And here we come to lesson roundup finally. So here this chapter is also done from the module. All three chapters which are related to directors are over. Okay. Now tomorrow is the last day for company law Sanjivani revision, in which we will be doing share capital. Okay. And then if that time permits, we will do that amalgamation also. Amalgamation and concepts. Otherwise amalgamation and concepts is already available in previous Sanjivani also. Okay, but share capital we are going to do tomorrow finally. Okay, so See you all tomorrow. Thank you so much. Please revise this chapter today itself. Finish it off. Okay. Should I tell you one thing? See, understand. When you study company law, firstly, there are so many small chapters which you should wind up from now only. Means you should finish studying in such a way that now directly you will write your paper. Revision is not required only. You can wind up few chapters in such manner. See, like for example, chapters like see this. You can wind up introduction to company law. You can wind up features of company and types of company. You can wind up charges, right? You can wind up dormant company. You can wind up annual report. CSR is not there now, correct? Investor, this inspection inquiry is not there now. So see, if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chapters if you wind up, so now remaining will be only 12 chapters. 5 chapters you can directly write paper. Finish it off right now. Don't keep that burden on you for one day before the exam or even for the month of December. Finish it off. These are very easy chapters. Okay. I had shared that PDF, how to study ABC analysis as well as time slots as well as those chapters how you can manage in one day. So please consider all that and finish it off. See, because in the month of December you will have prelims. So you don't have that much time now. 7th December. Okay, so please wind up all this. See you tomorrow with Share Capital module. Thank you so much. Bye bye.